On one summer day, I decided to play Persona 4 on the PS2, and it was amazing. The gameplay was fun, the story was intriguing, and the characters were so well written that they genuinely felt like the friends I never had. Of course, such a game as this became one of my all-time favorites, and I wanted to see more. So next year, I decided to play the previous game in the Persona franchise, Persona 3, Face to be specific. And while it definitely was a good game, it just lacked the magic of Persona 4, and for the vast majority of my playthrough, I absolutely hated it. So why is that? Let's discuss what Persona 4 did that Persona 3 lacked. Before we get into the big reasons why I didn't like Persona 3 as much, I feel like I should state that I played an Ultimate version of the game in which I get to control each of my party members, just like how I did in Persona 4 and how it is done in Persona 3 Portable. I say this because one of the biggest complaints of Persona 3 is the lack of party control, which I was able to avoid. Even with this improvement in player experience, I still feel like Persona 3 has inferior gameplay to its sequel, which is a good thing since, if not, that would be awful for the company, but I digress. The biggest complaint about the gameplay of Persona has to do with the light and dark magic. If you didn't know, light and dark magic works differently from other magics. They are able to take out an enemy in one hit, but there's a very, very small chance of it actually hitting, with stronger spells having higher chances. Think about it, Geome's in Pokemon. Anyway, in Persona 4, if a monster was weak to dark or light magic, then it was certain that it would die from that attack. While in Persona 3, nothing happens, meaning that there is no reason to use light or dark spells. You are infinitely more likely to kill a monster using your regular attacks than waste your SP and turns on light and dark spells. I mean, I guess it isn't that bad considering there isn't a party member that focuses solely on light or dark magic. Now though, makes the characters who do have said magic weaker because of it. Another problem I have with the gameplay is that there isn't really any fast travel like there is in Persona 4. The high schools in these games are incredibly large, and while it is nice to explore the first couple times, it gets tiring fast, so it's important to have fast travel for something like this. Alright, now that we went over the little things, let's go over the things that actually made Persona 3 not as good as Persona 4. One of my favorite things about Persona 4 has to be the dynamic characters. They are incredibly fleshed out with relatable quirks and weaknesses, and all of them create this wonderful chemistry as part of the investigation team. You got Yosuke and Chi's banter towards each other, Yukiko laughing at literally anything, and everyone ganging up in Kanji for no reason. Seriously, what did Kanji even do to deserve this? Well, the Persona 3 gang doesn't really have any of that. They mostly just feel pretty one-note and lack chemistry between each other, save for a few exceptions. I feel like this happens for two reasons: how the story is structured and the social links. In Persona 4, this really streamlined and efficient way for new characters to get into links. You get introduced to a new character, learn about their many basic character traits, figure out the flaws and backstory through their shadow dungeon, fight their boss, and then they join your party. And honestly, I find this approach to be absolutely genius because as soon as they join your party, you have a fleshed out character with established strengths, weaknesses, backstory, and an arc. This is also a good thing, as the writers don't need to worry about putting any character development in the main story, so they can focus more on the story and mystery without it being interrupted. With Persona 3 on the other hand, most party members join almost as soon as they are introduced, with the exceptions of Akihiko, Mitsuru, and Shinji. This means that the only way to further develop their character is either through social link or through the plot. The latter doesn't work because not only does it feel like the writers are forcing to conclude a character arc when they update their personas, it also screeches the plot to a halt. As for the social links, let's talk about that. In Persona 4, since the character establishment has already happened, the social links for them kind of serve as an epilogue or sequel to their initial character arcs, which is incredibly clever. It means that these social links are completely optional if you want to enjoy your companions as three-dimensional characters. You could completely skip out on the social links and the investigation team will still be a full set of fully fleshed out characters. But if you want to spend some extra time with a party member of your choice, you get to see a unique side to them, which adds even more layers of depth and character development. These social links give out a reward for doing these things, while not punishing you if you don't do them. I cannot say the same for Persona 3. Despite Persona 3 being the game that introduced social links in the first place, the social links for the main game cast are, no offense, pretty garbage. First of all, only the girls get to have social links, meaning that if you want to see more about your favorite male character, then you have no choice but to get Persona 3 Portable and play as the FemC. Oh, you already spent tons of hours in Persona 3 Face and don't have a PSP? Well, poop for you. You just have to live with it. Second, even when the girls have their own social links, you have to have a maximum of a certain attribute just to talk to them. So most likely, you might just have lost your chance to engage in their social links at all, let alone complete them. And even if you manage to max out your stats, they're still not good. The social links, that is. As someone who's completed both Yukari and Fuka's social links, instead of further exploring their character or backstory, they act more as pseudo-dating sims for the characters. Now, there's some dating sim-esque stuff from the Persona 4 social links, and I actually like that. And the Persona 3 social links do explore some part of the characters' personalities. But the problem here is that they prioritize the dating sim aspect over the characters themselves. You know it's a problem when the characters without social links, Junpei, Akihiko, and Shinjiro, are more fleshed out as characters than the ones with them. Which is sad because most of the Persona 3 social links are not like this. All the non-C social links are fantastic, much better than the non-investigation team links, and it really makes you feel invested in these people who would otherwise be strangers to me. The game really focuses on the friendships you make with the people you meet along the way, but forgets about the friendships with the people who are closest to you. Cease. I just find that really strange. Now, a lot of people actually do agree that the characters in Persona 4 are much better than they are in Persona 3, including people that actually prefer Persona 3. However, the reason why these people say that is because, even with that advantage, they still prefer Persona 3's story. In fact, most people agree that Persona 3 has the best story in the modern Persona trilogy. This is where I'll have to disagree. Persona 3 has a better ending than Persona 4, but that's about it. In fact, I'd say that Persona 3's story is yet another flaw to this game, and I think the reason why that is so is because of the overall lack of progress or sense to it. In Persona 4, after every dungeon, you get to learn something new about the case, whether it be new suspects, what the victims all have in common, and the motive. It feels like you are actively taking steps to solve the mystery. With Persona 3, for a majority of the game, you're just waiting for something to happen. Sure, things occasionally do happen, but it never feels like the story is actually progressing, just that something happened that day. It feels less like a story being told, and more like a kid living his ordinary life, with the occasional monster attack and nightly Tartarus raid. Normally, an uneventful main game with a massive conclusion really isn't an issue for me. Professor Layton and Ghost Trick do the same thing, but here's the problem, and this is a really big problem. Persona 3 is 100 hours long. To put this in perspective, it took me 3 months to complete Persona 4 when I played it non-stop, and when I didn't do that for Persona 3, it took me a whole year. For a game that astronomically large, you have to keep your players invested. How else will you make them experience such an amazing ending? In fact, the lack of interest to continue the game made playing it feel like a chore, and thus the experience felt clouded with so much negativity that I couldn't feel happy about the cruel ending because the only thoughts I had was to just end it already. For 100 hours, I waited for something big to happen, but once it happened, it was already there. I know this is a pretty unpopular opinion in the Persona fandom. Heck, if you search up Persona 4 is better than Persona 3, one of the top results is an entire article talking about how Persona 3 is better than Persona 4. But I do think it is important for me to express unpopular opinions from time to time. It encourages discussion. Speaking of which, let's discuss. What is your favorite Persona game? This includes Persona 1 or 2, by the way. Do you agree that Persona 4 is better, or do you prefer Persona 3? Why is that so? Oh yeah, Persona 5. I wonder how that game will stack up against the other two. Only time will tell, as right now I'm trying to get out of the first dungeon for the 1000th time because my game keeps freezing on. Aw, man, again! And I was almost done with the video too. Aw, I guess I'll start over.